Questions.
All right, go ahead.
All right, three, two, one. All
Yeah.
right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to You Had Me at Inclusion. Time to Rhythm with the Rhythm. This is our page is dedicated to raising awareness about autism and sharing helpful resources for families and teachers. And today we have Julie O'Malley, and I'll let you introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Hello, my name is Julie O'Malley, and I am the executive director at the Shorkey Center in Beaumont, Texas. Here we offer pediatric speech, occupational physical therapy, as well as applied behavior analysis therapy, which we do. We have 12 kids that are on site here all day at Shorkey from 8 to 4 with their registered behavior technician or their BCBA to have their applied behavior analysis therapy throughout the day.
Okay, and a little background about me and where I'm at with it, what we're doing. I don't know very much about autism, so I have a lot of questions, and I want to know and learn about it. So my questions are going to be based on someone who has little to no education or knowledge on the subject. So a little bit about you. How did you first become involved with advocacy and awareness work?
Um, I I have 5 family members that are on the spectrum. So I have been around it since I've been growing up. The oldest, my cousin on my dad's side, is now 48. So, all my life really there has been someone around me. And then I also have 4 on my mother's side, and their age range is about 14 to 25, 26, 25, 26 right now. They're all boys. And I decided to go into speech therapy, and that's what my first degree was, in speech therapy. And while working in the school systems, I really enjoyed working with the students that had autism. And so I decided to take a job at the West Virginia Autism Training Center. And then for 20 years, I was there strictly working with kids and adults in the community who had autism.
Okay, really good. I just brought it right, led me right into my next question. So, when you say autism, I don't understand exactly what the spectrum is and
Mhm.
how it's used and what that means. Can you
Okay.
help us understand that?
Absolutely. So it was, we had autism, and then we also had, which you've probably heard of as Asperger's, which was a higher functioning of autism. And it is, you have some problems maybe with eye contact. Sometimes there's problems with speech, not always. Sometimes, sometimes they're very fluent and they have great speech, but their intonation is wrong, or they just keep mimicking, a book or a story that they read. So they are talking and they are speaking, but not communicating essentially. So that, the big things are lack of socialization, lack of communication, and then also stereotypic behavior. Flapping their arms, sometimes toe walking, sometimes weaving, just depending, some type of behavior that they're doing to seek stimulation. And it was, as I said, Asperger's was kind of a higher functioning. They've done away with Asperger's now, and it is covered under the autism spectrum disorder. And there are 3 levels, level 1, 2, and 3, with level 1 kind of being those Asperger's kids and adults who are, highly functioning, sometimes mostly can live on their own, whereas 2 is a little bit more involved, and then 3 is needing, significant help to get through your daily living.
That was a really good explanation. So, what are some of the common misconceptions that people have about autism that you encounter, and how do you address them?
Um, I think one is, if someone has a lack of communication skills, thinking that they don't know the answer, they may have an answer in their head that is better than the answer that I'm trying to get out of them, but they cannot orally tell me. So I think a good way is to use pictures to ask questions and let them answer, let them write on a board. There are a ton of different devices. With iPads now, there's a ton, you can communicate using an AAC device. And so there's, a lot of the speech therapists now use them. And it is amazing what we can unlock with some of these kids who are nonverbal. And I was told once by a principal to give up, that he doesn't know anything. I worked with this kid, and he was so bright, and he had no oral language, but could tell stories, answer questions, on his little device, his little iPad device that he had. We were in the school in his room, and the PTO was cooking popcorn. He brought his device over to me and he typed out, "I want popcorn," because we could all smell it. And they were like, "Oh my goodness," and they really thought that he wasn't understanding, cognitively, that he was very low. And it was the absolute opposite of that. So I think that if they're not answering how you want to be answered, you need to give them another way to answer your question, to let you be aware of what they know. Does that make sense? Is that too much?
Yes, it does, and it kind of leads into the next question. What kind of resources and support systems have you found the most helpful for yourself, your family, and your community?
Um, I think a great resource is other families that have been through it, that have been in the trenches. We have a family support group here once a month, and the support that they give one another is amazing. It's great. And there are there's some blogs, some websites. Really try to stick. Like, I love the CDC's website because it is factual. It's all fact based. You're not going to go on there and read about some miracle pure, and that's, I really like to stay true to the CDC website. But I really do, lean on parents who have been there, who have been through the education system, who have been, been through the IEP process, who has been through, getting their child, helping their child get a job. I mean, job interview is so important. And a lot of the adults on the spectrum just it's really difficult for them. Interview skills are very difficult and they do not come easily. So they have to be taught. So really just leaning on people who have been through it is what I would say.
Right. So, you said a lot there that's really good stuff,
Mhm.
and I guess it made me think about something I read from the CDC's website, that a lot of people with autism hide their they try to hide their what their autism, right?
Mhm.
So when it comes to inclusion and including other people, is that something that you've noticed too? Is that if someone's maybe a little higher functioning and they know how to start to hide all their, uh, whatever it
They they do, and it's especially girls and women, because I think that we are innately programmed to be pleasing, and we're more communicative generally than men are. So girls, I think, really have a hard time. They get diagnosed later. There are a few of them that are diagnosed. So especially in girls, I think that they really can mask it, a lot easier. But I want people to be true to themselves. And in my classrooms, in my meetings, if there is someone who, whether they have autism or not, if they need to get up and stand in the back of the room, if they need to have a fidget, if they want to be on their bouncy balls instead of a chair, give them those modifications that they need to be successful. And nobody should hide who they are. And they deserve to have what they need to make themselves be the best that they can be.
Okay, so that was really good. So let's say you have a inclination that you may have autism,
Mhm.
but you haven't been properly diagnosed. And I'm in Beaumont, what would that process look like?
You would go to you could go to your medical doctor, or you could go to a psychologist. And it is, I mean, there's no blood test, there's no X-ray. It's for adults, especially. It's a questionnaire, it's a conversation with the health professional, and then they would look, and they would have to look at, they would look at your deficits in communication, in socialization. Do you have stereotypical behaviors? Do you need to to follow the same routine every day? Do you have to wear the same clothes every day? Do you have 10 pairs of the same pants? All this, they would look at it as a whole. And you have to meet certain criteria in each of these three domains to be diagnosed. But I would, start with your medical professionals. And we do a here that's called the ADOS, and it is a diagnostic tool that we use. But we don't do adults. We do kids here, and it's done by a speech pathologist and an occupational therapist. And we set up different scenarios. One of them is just a pretend birthday. There's a cake and little hats, and we, pretend, I pretend to sing happy birthday, and we pretend to blow out the candles, and the children are scored on, did they not even watch what I was doing and not want to interact at all? Were they watching what I was doing but not interacting with me? Or were they fully engaged? Were they singing happy birthday with me? Were they trying to blow out the candles? Did they have pretend play? So that is all. There's all these different scenarios depending on ages that are set up, and the child is scored by how they interact with the examiner. And then that goes back to their pediatrician. And given the score that they receive on the ADOS, then they are either given a diagnosis of ASD or not.
Okay, that's that's good. So, like, the few thoughts came to mind. So, if you have autism, there's nothing wrong with you. You're different, right?
Yep.
Like, you're not there. You're not broke. You're just something's different. And when you know you have autism, it's easier to deal with life and live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's positive for people who do get diagnosed. You've seen a good
Mm-hmm.
change because there's resources and there's people like you available to help them. Right. Okay.
There
Okay.
is, and even if you're out in the community, this is one thing. Like at a store, and I saw a mom, and I knew I could. I had seen the child before in the store, and being I'm like, oh, I'm sure that he's on the spectrum, whether he's diagnosed or not, it doesn't matter. But he started to melt down, and the mom was there, and she's trying to get him all together and get him back, in the cart. And she said, I'm sorry. And I said, don't be sorry. You're doing a great job. It's okay. And she started crying. I'm like, people need to be aware that, I mean, that parent is probably trying the best that she absolutely can, and maybe the lights in the store or the noise in the store, set her child off. And you shouldn't look at her and roll your eyes. Like, be aware and be considerate of everyone who's, everyone's going through something.
Right. So that is one of the questions. What advice would you give to someone who wants to become more informed and a respectful ally to the autistic community? How do you become more
You
informed?
could come, if you're in Beaumont, you could come volunteer at the Shorkey Center, see what we do on a day-to-day basis. You could come to one of our fundraisers or one of our events. You could come to the parent support group, volunteer at your local elementary school to go and read. I mean, you could do anything. I think the more that you are around children or adults with autism, the more comfortable you're going to be and the more natural your interactions will be with them. A lot of people are just worried. They're like, oh, that person's really unpredictable. I don't want to be around them, or I don't know what to do. But the more that you put yourself out there, you will be comfortable.
Okay. It's been, I know you're short on time. I am too. I just wanted to give you a chance to tell us, or is there a question I didn't ask that you wanted to answer, or kind of something that you want to say, whatever it is?
Um, Diagnosis is key. Accessing therapy is key. If you're a parent out there and you think, maybe, just maybe, call your pediatrician, get the referral. The earlier you start intervention, the earlier you start therapies, the more successful that you're going to be, your child's going to be.
All right. I just got one more. In your view, what role should schools, employers, or public institutions play in promoting autism awareness and inclusion? So that's back
Um,
to the.
be supportive and always be inclusive. Everyone's involved. If you are having a sporting event, have there be a quiet room where they can go to if the noise get overstimulating. I know that some of the stores in Beaumont on Sunday mornings have a quiet time to shop where there are not PA announcements and the lights are dimmer. So, really try to be accepting of that. There needs to be more of that, because even, walking into a Walmart or Target, sometimes the lights, the sounds, the smells are too much. So if we can find a time and find a place that somebody can come into our store and have a better experience, then we should be providing that.
Right. So some simple accommodations can go a long way.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking this interview on short steps of time, and you did a great job. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Tell Ginger hello.
I'll tell her hello. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.